Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it is our favorite time of the week, and maybe yours too, because cool new knives hit our shelves every day of the week, and here are the latest right in front of me. So we're going to start things off this week with two limited edition items that are sort of classics revamped from two different companies. We're going to start with the Cold Steel 60 Series Caledonian Edge. $500 for this bad boy right now. Don't worry, we don't have a ton that's like super cheap on this table. We do have some more affordable stuff than this week. So what is the Caledonian Edge? Now, the last time we could find this in a Cold Steel catalog, as we looked, was about 20 years ago. And it certainly did not have the same kind of materials and finish that you're gonna see on this version right here. What do we got? 4 1/4 inch blade, 20 CV steel, sort of a saber height flat grind with a blackened finish, but still has that shine of metal-like quality to it. It's not just a dulling black finish, dulling from a visual perspective, not an edge perspective. It's a very sharp edge right here. And the handle, kind of straight, almost Scandu inspired, similar to the Holdout in Cold Steel's lineup, actually, I would say. But we've got carbon fiber inlays front and back. We've got titanium bolsters with this thumb pad on each side. Actually makes it very intuitive and very comfortable, very natural feeling in a pinch grip right there, whether you're doing detail work with it or whether you're actually using it in a thrusting capacity, which is probably the original intent behind the design. Single position pocket clip rounds things out, and we've got a liner lock with the folded over frame with some texturing on the front. Always a nice touch and always easy to operate when you go to close that knife. But it all feels very good. Lots of blade in a relatively small footprint when it is folded. You're going to be able to, most people I think anyway, should be able to carry that fairly easily and bring a lot of edge to bear. And with 20 CV, you're going to have a lot of edge retention to go along with it as well. Next up, and even more expensive, we've got the BuckMaster 2.0 from Buck Knives, limited edition, 2024 only, coming in about $800 right now. Now, I know this. There's going to be some folks out there that are not a fan of what they did to the BuckMaster. Unlike the Caledonian Edge, which is fairly similar to the original, this is a completely new shape compared to the original BuckMaster, and there's a reason for that. Initially, the design intent behind the BuckMaster was something for Navy SEALs and special operatives, and the way they would need to use their knives. And some concessions were made at the time during the 80s to kind of, I think, skew it a little more towards like the Rambo survival knife fad that kind of took things over in that genre. But those changes, while successful and made the BuckMaster a cult icon for sure, kind of took it away from the actual mission aspects of the knife. The 2.0 is all about the mission. Now, what do we got here? The blade is almost 7 inches long, spear point blade as opposed to the clip point of the original, so it's a little bit of a more robust tip, something that's more utilitarian, can be used for digging scenarios more successfully. And you've got the partially serrated edge here on the front side, or on the heel of the blade, to give you more shearing power, especially on fibrous materials. A much more comfortable and ergonomic handle, I would say. G10 scales, oval shaped as opposed to the cylinder of the original BuckMaster. That means it's less likely to twist in your hand and easier to index and tell which way you're actually facing. Now, being the back edge here is not sharpened, although you could do that if you wanted to. It'd be maybe a slightly thick edge, but you could certainly do it. But in order to know which way the edge is facing, you have this almost like a sub-hilt type of thing here with the tang protruding. Makes you sure you're handling this knife the correct direction. The edge is pointing the right way. I think it's really cool. You do not have, like the original BuckMaster had the spikes that came down like this to help it's in use as an emergency anchor or even slight grappling tasks. For this, you have the wing right here, the emergency anchor wing, which, two things. It can go in this way or this way. So the prongs facing either direction. I'm not going to put them in here because I don't want to scuff potentially scuff the finish here, which could happen. So we'll use some footage from SHOT Show earlier this year. But the other nice thing about it is in either orientation, you can actually hold and use the knife with it installed. With the original BuckMaster with the spikes installed, you would screw them in or out. You couldn't actually use the knife. You can use the knife, which is good because it's a knife and you want to use it, don't you? Here is the sheath. Very, very nicely done. Kydex, you've got a space here on the front for that emergency anchor wing. It can be held in a little bit extra by these Velcro straps, and nice fit, MOLLE compatible on the back. That's a word, right? It is now. Look it up. And you've got snaps and Velcro on the loop here if you'd rather carry it on your belt as opposed to attaching it to MOLLE gear. And it's set up in such a way that it should be easy enough to get on and off without removing your belt, but not so easy that it's just gonna pop off on you. There you go, check them out. Only for 2024. Next up, not a limited edition, still pricey though, made in the US, the Reiff F6 Leuku in MagnaCut steel. Everybody's favorite steel nowadays for good reason, because it's kind of the best jack of all trades steel around, quite honestly. It is very tough, it is very stainless, and it holds an edge very well too, hitting all three of those knife steel quality pillars on high degrees, which no other steel can really do that in quite the same way these days. These Leukus are very comfortable. You've got micarta handles with a very nice swell to them and a very natural feel, at least in my slightly larger than average hands. But as you can see, there's even more handle than I necessarily quote unquote need for my hand size. So big-handed folks, this is gonna work pretty well. If you are wearing a heavy-duty pair of work gloves or even winter gloves, you're still gonna have enough handle to grab on this bad boy. The blade is about 6 inches long. You've got a saber height flat grind, stone washed finish on this one. Just all around great for general purpose outdoor uses. As far as the ability to strike a fire steel on this one, the spine it's borderline. It might not quite be crisp enough, but it's close. Like a couple minutes on a flat stone and you could have that throwing sparks in no time if that is your thing. Balances well for the fine work, and you could do some maybe light chopping if you choke back on it a little bit. And like most Reiffs, you have two sheath options. One is the beautiful JRE Industries leather sheath here, complete with a dangler loop to keep it out of the way of your hip belt, and a fire steel loop, and there's also a Kydex option, and several different flavors of micarta are available. Continuing the MagnaCut theme for just a minute, we've got new versions of the Southern Grind Spider Monkey in that MagnaCut steel, coming in $264 for this also USA made knife. I've always really enjoyed the blade on the Spider Monkey. It's 3 1/4 inches long. It's a nice tapering drop point. I like the high flat grind on it. The shape is very pleasing to my eye, and it's just a size that is just about perfect for my EDC. I like a 3-inch blade sometimes, but a 3 1/4 just always feels like it hits a nice sweet spot. It's big enough without being too big, and it's not too big. Nice trick, right? Thomas, what would we call this flavor of a micarta if we were to assign it a flavor?
Mocha.
Mocha? Sure, why not? It is natural campus micarta in any case. Tell me your flavor. This almost looks like Golden Grams. The Golden Grams flavored micarta handle is a nice touch. A little pop of sweetness on there. Yeah, see what I did?
Wait for bacon.
Yeah, bring it on. We've got nice liners here. They are a little bit on the thicker side to give it a little bit more strength, but again, not so thick that it's gonna be a hindrance, just like the blade stock. Same deal there. We've got washers in the pivot here as opposed to ball bearing, so a little more resistant to dirt and grit, and a nice buttery smooth action when you want to flip that open. And enough of a handle there, using the index finger groove for me. I've got most of my 4 fingers on there, but you've got enough space here on the front that you could choke up a little bit, and I can get a nice meaty gorilla grip on this if I were to need to push it into a bigger cut. Next up, Vosteed. We've got the Jeff Blovelt designed mini Psyops are in stock. We saw these at Blade Show, and it quickly rose to one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. This is just a sweet little package. $129. You've got LMAX steel, about 2.7 inches in length. Really cool bulbous drop point profile to it. Very thin on the blade stock. Nice high flat grind to keep it slicey. Very acute tip. It's just a wonderful little everyday blade. If your cutting tasks, don't border on the heavy duty, this is gonna cut very, very nicely. We've got a green flavored micarta. my creativity is falling off, isn't it? As well as some blue denim is also an option, and I believe a black micarta with a black blade. No, sorry, a carbon fiber handle with a black blade. That comes with some blue accenting hardware too, which is pretty cool. Oh, we do have a black micarta actually. No, sorry. That's also carbon fiber. We got black carbon fiber with a black blade and red accents is also available. I like this one though. The green is nice. It's almost a rose gold going on. It's not quite copper, although maybe it's closer to copper than gold, but that might be a good rose gold right there. But anyway, it feels comfortable. It's contoured. It's just enough there in the hand for, I can get a decent gorilla grip on this actually, which is impressive for such a small knife. It's actually pretty impressive indeed. Part of that's the way they've handled the front here. Instead of giving us a finger guard or something that swoops down that might push your hand back, they let it be nice and gentle all the way towards the edge so you can really get right up behind it and maximize the actual handle length, maximize the grippable length of it. Trade-off of that, you do have a little bit of a protruding or a right angle tang here at the back side when it's closed. Some people don't like that. I never really mind, but that is the trade-off for more usable handle, which for me, that is always worth it. Reversible pocket clip, almost deep carry, rounds things out. You're gonna like it. If you want something a little bigger, for the same money actually, that's interesting. Also $129, we've got the Bellamy from Vosteed, 3.4 inch M390 blade. Clip point with a high hollow grind going on there. Really cool black and white linen micarta handles as well. I think that's linen. Actually, no, that might be canvas. That was actually kind of hard to tell. Oh, actually, they're calling it Ultrex micarta. Ultrex is just a brand. It's not necessarily like...
I was thinking Tetris.
Well, it's micarta in any case. So there you go. Really cool shape to it though. The edge, the blade itself, and the angle of the edge at the heel is kind of angled up just a little bit. Should be a pretty nice slice experience. We've got an inset liner lock. We've got 3 methods of opening. Something you see a lot on Vosteeds. You don't really see it on this mini Psyop here. That's pretty much a wrist flick or thumb stud only affair. But for this, you have rear flipping. You've got front flipping, which folks know, that's never been my strong suit on many knives. You've also got the fuller right here, which means you can flick it. Oh, come on.
Someone can. There's gonna be so many drum rolls.
I swear I managed to do this before. Carefully. There we go. Okay, all right. For me, I got to get a little further down.
Slightly larger than average error.
Come on. I'm just going to use the flipper anyway. Your mileage may vary. Have I mentioned...
Probably better mileage than David's.
Have I mentioned I like Vosteed knives and I like the people running the company too? Like, they make a good knife. And the only reason we're going to leave this in is because I think it's just funny. It's not at all an indication of the quality of the knife. Go. You could certainly thumb open it with the fuller too. So maybe there's 4 ways of opening it, but I can only do 3 of them.
3 out of 4, that's like a C.
I'll take it. It's a passing grade. Let's move on to the next. The Ankylo is here with their new Vanker lock. This is also $129. While you're not going to get as exotic of a steel as the earlier 2, we've got 154 cm here. You are getting their new proprietary and very strong lock. It operates similarly to CRKT's deadbolt lock in that you just have to push the button located on the pivot to let things drop free. But importantly, the way it works inside is not the same as the deadbolt lock, because that is, of course, a patented mechanism. But it is very strong here. And you also have 3 methods of opening with this knife. You've got the rear flipping. Something I just found out, make sure you bring your index finger far enough back so you clear the tang of the knife, because that will happen. You've also got front flipping. You've also got, hey, I did it. All right. The reverse flick, as well as the thumb up, of course. You got all of that. But beyond that, it's cool that they released, I think, this tough new lock on a very tough feeling knife as well. Blade is about 3.2 inches long, strong modified sheep's foot profile, or you could call it a reverse tanto if you want to.
I will.
That's how you'll find it on our website if you're interested. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. As far as the amount of grip on this, you can see about 3.5, almost a full 4 fingers for me on the backside of the index finger guard here, but plenty of space to choke up. This is going to be a great knife for those with big hands or wearing heavy-duty work gloves. That is going to be a solid, big fisted hold on that knife, no problem. Again, we've got a reversible clip. You've got a filler plate on the front to keep things nice and smooth. It's a very lefty-friendly lock, even though it is right-hand facing. You can also do that flick open. Overall, it's just very, very nice. Check out all the different handle flavors available at the link below. Nice thing about that lock too, I didn't mention, which we're gonna stick with that theme a little bit, it is a finger-safe closing lock, meaning that to close the knife, your fingers never have to get in the path of the blade, which is just an extra nice thing. The crossbar lock on the mini Psyop does that as well. And the Snex style lock on this Chupacabra from Tactile Knife Company does the same thing, the Super Lock as it is called. $249 for this, made in the USA with a MagnaCut blade. We already talked about why that's special, 3.3 inches long, modified sheep's foot profile. Although our website says drop point blade. I'm gonna have words. I wonder if that's what Tactile's website calls it. If so, I'm gonna have words with them. Anyway.
A lot of words there.
A lot of words. Handles are black anodized aluminum. You've got a right side only pocket clip. Everything else is ambidextrous, but the pocket clip does not flip over. Locking action, very nice. Again, finger safe. You can flick open or closed. You can also open with the thumb studs if you wish. Pretty good feel in the hand. We've got a fair amount of weight for its size. It's not super heavy, but it is not as light as some in this size class, so that does impart a little more of a feeling of rigidity to it. It does make it feel like a knife that I wouldn't be afraid to push very hard when needed, which is a nice thing. Left hand action works good. It's kind of a cool sound it makes as if you use the thumb studs, as it kind of pops the detent, you get a click. It's just cool. You can do a flick, and you hear both of those. It's kind of like a bolt action almost. I'll hear it again. I like it. Anyway, check it out. Very cool EDC with some hard use capabilities, I would say. Next up, the Manix 2. We've got the new G10 handled Spy 27 version of the knife coming in at $180. Spy 27 being Spyderco's proprietary powder metallurgy steel that they made with Crucible. Heavy on the cobalt, I believe it was, in the formulation here. And the idea is to give you something in the general ballpark of like the S35 and S45 VN family, similar toughness and edge retention, but easier to maintain, a little easier to strop. You still got stainlessness, and it's generally been pretty well received as a very well-rounded steel. Being the Manix 2, you've got a 3.37-inch blade with a nice distal taper, bringing it to a very fine tip and a full flat grind to keep it nice and slicey. Fairly aggressive grip on the handles thanks to the jimping on the liners and the texture of the G10. And of course, just the general shape of it being something that locks your hand in quite nicely. If you want a little more fine detail work, or you need a little more space, as you can see, my slightly larger than average hands are kind of maxing out the interior space of that handle. You've always got that choil area where you could choke up, increase your grip length, as well as get finer behind the tip as well. Next up, we've got the Swick 6 from Spyderco. The full serrated version now in stock, $162 for this knife. We've got a 2.73 inch blade, and I'm going to say that's more or less the cutting edge here, although I haven't mentioned because this distance from the tip to the scale is definitely going to be over 2.75. Let's see. Let's throw a ruler on there just for kicks. If you are in an area where you have to pay attention to the tip to scale measurements, we're dealing, yeah, almost 3 7/8 of an inch long right there at its longest point. So there you go. The steel, however, is LC200N, which is very nearly impervious to rust while still giving you some very capable edge retention and very good toughness as well, which makes it a very good choice for a serrated knife like this, where those tips are going to undergo a lot more stress than a plain edged knife. The extra toughness is certainly going to be very nice indeed. Full flat grind, keeps it pretty darn slicey. Index finger hole there for your standard grip. I do have, not small fingers, and I fit in there pretty comfortably. I don't feel pinched or cramped, which is nice. And in that standard hold with the G10 here, it's going to give you a very forward-facing tip for presenting that knife. Obviously, that makes it very good for its intended self-defense role, but this is just a very cool utilitarian blade as well. Unlike something like, for instance, say a karambit, which we'll look at later, its general purpose utility is more limited than just a Wharncliffe style blade like you see on the Swick. What else is cool? No visible fasteners on the G10. That's just pretty neat. And let's take a look at the sheath. Here it is. I believe it is Bolteron. Yep, it is indeed. And you click in there, you've got Spyderco's G-clip for belt or inside the waistband carry. And importantly, you can access that index finger hole while it's in the sheath, push off, no adjustment of the grip. You're right there, ready to go and bring that edge to bear. And if you need to bring that edge to bear quickly, that's a nice feature indeed. Next up, we've got a new version of the Boker AK1, a pocket fixed blade. You folks know I like a pocket fixed blade, so I always like to talk about when we have new versions. Here's the sheath. It is leather, and it comes with an ulti clip. So that is going to, once you place it in your pocket, clamp it down so that the sheath will not move, and then you can pull that knife out without having to worry about pulling the sheath out at the same time. Blade itself, RWL 34, which is analogous to like your CPM 154, 3.11 inches long, and technically that's a straight clip point because you got a straight line from right here all the way down to the tip, but nice and thin, full flat grind, very slicey indeed, and Richlite handles, something I always also like to talk about. It's basically paper micarta, so you've got recycled paper fiber in there. It has this ability to almost feel like in the same vein as like a real nice natural wood, but it's much more stable, of course, because it's not, it's flooded with epoxy basically, so it's not going to swell and shrink and crack in the same way that natural wood will. The natural wood would.
If it could.
If it could. You can also, if you wish, flip around this lanyard hoop at the back. You can unscrew these handles, flip that onto the inside so it's flush there on the back if you wish. Doesn't really get in the way though. Although some folks may like to do that, I probably never would, just because it fits me pretty nicely. I like the protection on the front here. The edge doesn't come all the way through. I like that. Feels a little bit safer than some other options out there. Price on this, $236, if I did not mention. It is made in Germany, not one of their imported lines, even though this is the USA, so it is imported here, but you know what I mean. Next up, we have, actually this is made in Germany too. I didn't realize that. I don't think these are made in Solingen like the AK1 we just looked at. Could be wrong on that, but I'm not sure. Their traditional series 2.0 Whittler right here. $56, D2 blade steel, which is already a nice upgrade in edge retention over similarly priced slip joints. But what I like about this one is it is a Whittler, which means you've got a main blade and two small blades opening from the opposite side, a pen blade and a coping blade. My first quality knife was a Whittler. It was a Camillus Boy Scout Whittler, and it used these blades, but it configured them actually like a Stockman. So the two small blades didn't come out from the small side. This is more traditionally what we think of as a Whittler than my Whittler was. But it's a pattern that's close to my heart, as you can imagine. But the D2 blade steel is nice, and what I really like is how thin these small blades are. Look at that. I mean, just little scalpels, which is very, very cool. Those things are going to cut a long time. Even if you do use up the blade and you've sharpened all the way up to it, it's not going to be that dramatically different from when it was new because it is just that thin. And they feel good too. Everything about them is buttoned down and feels perfectly made. Old school tree brand logo there on the blade. I dig it. This next knife, the Chris Reeve Mnandi, I've always felt kind of channels, old school pocket knives as well, just in a frame lock format, of course. $500 for these. You've got a 2 3/4 inch MagnaCut blade, clip point blade. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's very subtle, which is interesting because I had a Mnandi before. It's not the current generation with this cutout in the blade, and I could have sworn it was a drop point. But it's got me doubting now, seeing this as a clip point. Like, was I just dumb back in the day when I had one? Did I just not clock that? It seems impossible. I had it for a while. Chime in the comments section. It's one of those things where I don't know if I'm going crazy or not, but that is definitely a clip point. It's very subtle, but it is very nice. And that's the thing with a Chris Reeve knife. It is just very nice. It's very classy. Everything is just perfectly done. You've got a crown spine. I like the bog oak inlays on these. Very classy pen-like pocket clip on there. Frame lock. The lockup itself is amazingly solid. And unlike my old Mnandi, this one's easier to open one-handed. You've got the blade cut out there. For my size hand, I can do it with just my thumb, but because of the size of the knife being a little smaller, for me, I'm finding it easier to pinch with my 2 fingers, and then I can just continue with my thumb. Because if I just do it with the thumb the whole way, I'm finding I have to adjust my angle just a little bit throughout the travel. Awesome everyday carry, awesome gentleman's knife as well. Always going to impress when you pick up one of these. It's one of those things where when I got my first Sebenza, I wanted it, but I didn't know why they were so expensive. But after getting it and appreciating it and really seeing all those fine details, I got it. I understood why people paid the money they do for those knives. Let's say you don't have that kind of money though. How about this? The Case Marilla. New version of this has just hit the site, $197. 3.4 inch S35 blade, blackened finish, but you still got the reflectivity of the blade, which is nice. White Cerakoted handle, black G10 inlay, black hardware as well, black deep carry clip. It's got that Stormtrooper vibe. And it's made in the USA right alongside the Case slip joints. And it's every bit a modern flipper. It's exactly what you would want. Flips nicely, locks up nicely. There you go. A little bit on the thicker side, on the blade stock thickness with a saber height flat grind, we'll say. So it's definitely got more of that brute strength to it as opposed to ultimate slicing capability. The handle fills your hand up nicely. The G10 is a nice addition for you if you're going to be using this in a hard working scenario. It gives you a little bit of extra grip. It still maintains a pretty slim tip, however, so you can still get some fine piercing done at the same time. Next up, we've got a lot of new Socom Elites from Microtech, including some manual versions. I just wanted to pull one right here, because I don't think I've ever picked up a Tonto-bladed Socom Elite before, so here we go. You got your M390 steel on this, price is $325, and you've got thicker blade stock here, saber height flat grind on the back and on the leading edge of the tip. This blade is built for abuse and for just really thrashing hard when you need to thrash hard. It's a tactical knife after all. You've got a nice section of thumb ramp here at the back, and the blade angling down means you can point very effectively with it and have that tip hit where you need. You've also got a glass breaker here on the back side with that little ball bearing, traction grip inlays on the aluminum handles, inset liner lock, in kind of a nod to the throwback styling of the throwback generation of the blade, tip down carry, which may not be as coveted in modern day EDC circles, but in tactical scenarios, that is going to make it easier to get the blade, find your grip, and launch the blade and have it ready to use in a tactical scenario. It's just a little bit faster than most tip down designs. Or sorry, most tip up designs. Pardon my mistake there. Speaking of tactical, Toor knives. This is a limited edition of their Karsumba R Karambit, coming in $275 right now with a very cool two-tone finish on the CPM 154 blade. So CPM 154 is the powder version of 154 CM. Edge retention shouldn't be dramatically different, but you've got more toughness on this particular steel, which, again, toughness, we have a very fine tip. That's a good thing. Very good thing indeed. Feels good in the hand. Plenty of diameter there for the index finger, or yeah, the finger hole opening, which means most folks should have no real problem with that. And it's roomy enough even for my slightly larger than average hands. Some karambits can get a little cramped. This one is not a cramp rambit for me. It is a roomy karambit. Sheath is two-tone, not just like the blade, but just like the blade. And that will fit a large tech lock for the whole pattern here if you want to attach it to your belt that way. Very nice. Of course, I just opened it the wrong way, or pulled it out the wrong way. Karambit grip is like this. You guys know what's up. Very, very nicely made, as is everything Toor, and as mentioned, limited edition, so don't wait too long. And last but not least, I wanted to show the latest version of the Joy of Cooking Santokus we just got in, because these have been doing very well for us here. It is priced at just under $200, which is the same price as something like the Wüsthof Icon, which comes with a basic stainless steel. This, you're not getting a basic stainless steel. You've got S35 VN, very utilitarian, very useful and versatile shape, nice and thin, so it is a fantastic slicer. I've been using my red-handled one in the kitchen for quite a while now. And the handles on these, natural micarta, no visible pins as well. So very nice, very clean, helps keep, with the internal pins and the epoxy used to fasten these, there's no place for water to seep in and let germs get to growing, which is nice. And micarta, speaking of water, always feels a little bit tackier when wet, which is a great addition for a kitchen knife. Kind of surprising more kitchen knife makers don't find ways to use micarta, because it is a pretty, pretty perfect fit for a kitchen knife in my opinion. Some folks have said they think this handle looks a little narrow, and the reason for that is handles on chef knives like this are made for balance. And look at the balance on that blade. That's what you want. You're not gripping the knife like you would a bushcraft knife. You're pinching it right here. You just need that handle to balance out the blade, and it does it exceptionally well. Rock's great, slice is great, great materials, at a reasonable price, I would say, and made in the USA too. Anyway, that's all we've got for right now. Let me know what your favorites were down in the comments, and if you want to get your hands on any of them, check the links in the description, which will take you, of course, to KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program while you're there, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We are signing off. See you next time.